Gonna have to make this one quick. I need to go rescue my sister from a flooding pool, but teams lists are out, so you'll have to wait, Tori. Sorry about that. Starting off with the Bulldogs Broncos, straight away, very significant. We don't get Jacob Kiraz this week. He has been named at 18th man for the Blues for some reason. I don't know why you'd have a player that can only cover two positions as your 18th man, but whatever. So there's a lot of people who'll probably be forced into making a trade to get full numbers this week because of Kiraz. Myself, I have sold Nico Hines to Ezra Mam, which is good for this week, but if you look at all my halves altogether, it's Fogarty, Wishart, Cameron Munster, and Ezra Mam. So that's a little bit shit. It's good for this week because of the buys and stuff, but definitely going to have to make another trade next week and get Nathan Cleary in to bolster that up. Not relevant, Jake. Fucking get on with it. Blake Wilson and Ernie Chuala joined the backline with Stephen Crichton and Jacob Kiraz on Blues duty, while Harry Hayes and Sam Hughes are the new props in place of Max King and Daniel Saluka-Fafita. Not very Supercoach relevant, let's just move on. Selwyn Cobbo is back in the NRL and will line up at fullback in place of Reece Walsh. If for some reason you're holding on to Cobbo, I reckon he has a point to prove this week. I think he could go huge, but I definitely would not be trading him in. Mariner also joins the backline in place of Maroon's debutant Gamat Shibasaki. If you're still holding on to Shibasaki, first of all, well done. He's been great. He's been one of the better centers this year. And honestly, if the Broncos go on with this form, he could be a keeper. I certainly wouldn't go trading him out just for the sake of it. He's getting good scores. He's scoring tries. I'd be very happy with him. Xavier Wilson, Kobe Hetherington, Jaden Hunt, Tyrone, what the fuck ever. Raiders, Dragons. The origin call-up for Josh Papali'i means Horsburgh slides from lock to prop. I think that's a good thing for him. Hopefully running the ball more and passing it less. Smithies is promoted from the bench, blah, 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 blah. Nothing too Supercoach relevant there. For the Dragons, a host of injuries and Val Holmes' absence on Maroon's duty have forced coach Shane Flanagan to dig deep into his squad with Sione Fainu, Terrell Sloan, Rayland for... I can't fucking read today, it's cooked. Raymond for Tyler Mariner, Loko Pacifici Tonga, Hame Sele, Michael Morlo, all coming into the 17 for the trip to Canberra. Hamish Stewart, Leilua, Lawson, Couchman are all missing from the team that beat the Eels. Only relevance here is probably Hamish Stewart. He would have been nice cover this week. It's a bit of a shame. And Nathan Lawson as well. Hamish Stewart's probably at a decent enough price to move on. So if you've got him, you could look at a replacement, potentially an upgrade if you've got some cash in the bank. Nathan Lawson, though, hasn't really set the world alight. It's a bit of a difficult trade to get out. If you can, just hold on to him for now, because I really don't think there's any cheapy options to get in for him. I think you're just going to have to eat that one this week. Cowboys Storm finally have Wishart starting at 6. I brought him in at the start of the Origin period thinking, yep, he'll get some good 80-minute games with Munster on Origin duty, and it's finally going to happen in round 18, and Munster isn't just going to keep backing up. So hopefully Wishy can get into his work and finally get me a decent pod score. Fingers crossed on that. As for changes, Tom Duffy takes over at halfback from the Maroons' number 7 Tom Dearden, while the absence of forwards Ruben Cotter, Nanai and Robson on Origin duty sees a new look pack that includes McLean, Bateman, Harrison Edwards and Kai O'Donnell. Nothing too crazy there. This is a tough game to pick because the Cowboys have had a decent-ish record against the Storm in recent times, but they've had a terrible record with their Origin guns out. So if I had to put money on it, I'd still go for a Storm toweling up, and Pappenhausen could be a decent captain or vice option there. For the Storm, Farlongo doing his hammy last week, I fucking hate it. I love watching him. Hopefully we get to see him a little more this year. He's so exciting to watch. Anyway, Grant Anderson slide into the wing with Kane Bradley coming in on the other wing and Joe Chan named at centre. I'm sure a lot of you remember Joe Chan from the AE Nightmares last year. Tyron Wishart replaces Munster at 5'8", and Bronson Garlick comes in for Harry Grant at hooker. Jonah Pezzett joins the bench in a utility role. That's a name I haven't heard for a while. Kamakamika at prop. Nas moves to lock to cover for Trent Leoro. And Valuepu and old mate there come in on the bench. There isn't really too much to touch on so far with the teams list this week. It's what we expect, really. We've always known these Origin guns aren't going to be available. Anyway, Roosters Tigers. Tom Rodwell will make his NRL debut on the wing with Mark Nwakanitawasi moving to the centres to replace Rob Toyer. Fuck. Wish he was still on the wing, especially against the Tigers. And all the Origin forwards out sees Makatoa. How the fuck do I say that? I want to say Yoelu. Blake Steep joining the starting side. Egan Butcher returns from a concussion to replace Seo Wong. Max Cathy. Yeah, look. A lot of changes, none of them relevant. Heath Mason's suspension sees Taruva slide to fullback and Charlie Staines come onto the wing. Dewey moves to 5'8" to cover Appy. And Laui'i is the new centre partner for Star Toa. With Talon De Silva departing for the Eels, Tristan Hope takes over blah fucking blah blah. Finally, we have some actual relevant shit here. Talon De Silva going to the Eels. He could definitely be an option up at hooker if you're not wanting to go all out. Even though going the guns isn't really going all out. Harry Grant is still under 600k, I think. There just isn't that standout hooking option. And I think if Talon De Silva comes in nice and cheap, I think a few people will jump on him. I haven't quite decided myself if it's a good idea yet, but we'll have to have a look at the numbers and the draw and all that. Manly Rabbitohs. Alex Johnston is playing fullback. Excuse me? Alex Johnston will continue his chase for the all-time try-scoring record from fullback as he fills in for Latrell Mitchell. Isaiah Tass comes in on the wing, Ewan Aitken moves to the centres, and Jack Whiten goes to 5'8" to replace Cody Walker. Liam LeBlanc and Lewis Dodds are new faces on the bench. Johnston at fullback is rogue. I don't think I've ever seen that, but I guess I'm keen to see how that goes. For Manly, just the one change in the team that beat the Tigers with Tommy Talau added to the bench in place of Nathan Brown. Talau has recovered from a hamstring injury and will line up in his 7th NRL game of the season. Why is Saab named? Last week, he was dropped and only came back in because Talau did his hammy, and now he's starting over Talau. Is that a load management for Talau, and then maybe Saab gets dropped next week? I don't know. Who the fuck knows with Manly? It's a shit show. That's all for the teams lists. Don't forget to leave your bets in the comments. Let's go over to the group league and see who top scored and who gets half the budget. So we've got Hunter's Hillbillies with a 15-21, going up 7,400 spots. That is a huge week for him. So Brett, if you're watching this, leave a comment with any bet you want for the weekend and you will get half of the budget for the prize pool. And the other half of the budget gets split between all the other comments. So get commenting. The prize pool is up over $400 now, with no signs of slowing down. And I'm just going to wrap it up there. It's a bye week. There's not that much to cover. Don't forget, you only need 14 numbers this week. You have 3 trades if you need them. I'd recommend not using 3 unless you've saved a bunch. And don't forget to select all your reserves. Good luck in the final major bye week. Keep in mind that next week's a bit of a tricky one. And I'll see you for the wrap up on whenever the fuck I do it. Uru.